Many times I have my patients just cut a lime in half and rub it all over their nails because that tends to bleach the nail and get rid of the discoloration. Hi, I'm Abby.
And I'm Terry.
Today we're going to answer the most common foot questions that people Google. So why do my feet smell so bad?
Smelly feet come about because people don't understand that the feet have more sweat glands on the soles of their feet than they do anywhere else in their body. And so there's a lot of perspiration that goes out from the soles of your feet during the course of the day. Even as much as half a pint of fluid can be expressed from your feet. Some people just don't have the same type of bacterial flora on the soles of their feet where they will be more smelly and some will not.
Are my toenails yellow because of my nail polish? Usually, if you use a good base coat and if you take your nail polish off every 2 weeks, and many times I have my patients just cut a lime in half and rub it all over their nails because that tends to bleach the nail and get rid of the discoloration. And if you hydrate the nail with a natural oil, it shouldn't turn yellow. But if it does, and it's only on top of the nail, it really isn't anything serious and it can be treated. We usually, in the office, if the discoloration is superficial, we can gently file them and then buff them and make them look gorgeous.
Why do the balls of my feet hurt after running? It could be a number of different things. If it's something that's ongoing and chronic, you generally speaking will do a whole lot better with running in areas that perhaps are not concrete or asphalt. Find your running shoes that would be a little bit more shock absorption. Some people will also use inserts, some custom made and some over the counter, to increase the amount of cushion present underneath that area. Even now we have sock technology out there now where you can actually have like Thorlo socks is a type of brand that has more cushioning and more comfort in the ball of the foot and the instep and also in the heel.
Can I put deodorant on my foot? I actually tell my patients, if they're worried about perspiration, to use an antiperspirant, not a deodorant, because the whole point is for you to reduce the amount of sweat production, and a deodorant just mixes up with whatever odor you have on your feet and it just doesn't get rid of the problem. Another thing that I've recommended that works many times are tea soaks. If you use a regular black tea and you make yourself iced tea to soak your feet in, it tends to basically reduce the amount of sweat or perspiration because the thein in tea is a very good drying agent. When will my black nail fall off? It takes about 11 months to a year for a new nail to grow. And usually the new baby nail is going to push that black nail out and it's going to grow out and it may fall off on its own, or you may need our help to gently file it or trim it so that the new baby nail can grow out. If, however, you've had chronic nail injuries, like a lot of people who do marathons, run, or have chronic injuries to their toes, then it may take even longer for the new nail to grow because it just ends up damaging or irritating the nail root. However, if you have a discoloration under the nail that looks like it's been there for a long time or it's getting bigger, we always recommend you to either see a dermatologist or come in so that we can help you figure out whether or not it's a malignancy or something that is growing within the nail plate. My toes are always cold. Do you want to answer that?
Having cold toes is usually from something that has more to do with nervous or nerve situations, the way the nerves come down into your feet. There's no real treatment for it necessarily other than wearing socks, keeping your feet as warm as possible. But even as I sit here, I'm having cold toes. I consider it normal because I have it. It's nothing pathological for the most part, so you don't have to worry about it. Why are my toes cramping?
Overall, cramping has to do with your activity level and the kinds of shoes that you wear. It's not something that is dangerous or it's an indication of something wrong going on in our body.
And also cramping can be caused by imbalance of the electrolytes inside your body. Basically, it's your pH and your fluid levels. Sometimes I will tell people to have some quinine, which has in tonic water, to prevent cramps going to sleep, and many times also Gatorade, because Gatorade does have electrolytes that can be replenishing. Is my toe broken?
You know, a lot of times people come in and they assume that because they stubbed their toes or dropped something on top of their feet, they for sure have broken their toes. I think the best way and the easiest way is to just have an x-ray taken and then learn how to buddy tape it. Will my toenail grow back after an ingrown toenail removal? It depends if you're talking about the entire nail and what kind of procedure was done on the toenail. If usually you just have the corner that was basically causing you the discomfort removed permanently, although there's no guarantee that every treatment works, but most of the time if you have that procedure, that portion of the nail should never grow back.
Other times, someone will have an ingrown toenail where it's somewhat chronic. We will numb up the toe with a local anesthetic, and we'll trim away the ingrowing portion of the nail, and then after that put a little chemical against the nail root so that the chemical kills the nail root just in that corner so the ingrowing portion of the nail doesn't come back again.
Why does my foot fall asleep? The main reason for any part of our body to fall asleep is basically if we have been sitting or laying down in a position where you're pressing on a nerve that it stops functioning and working normally. It's like having a short in a wire and it just does not function the way it should. And that's what makes your foot or your arm fall asleep. And all you have to do is just massage and wait a few seconds, and as soon as that nerve starts functioning, you'll get the sensation back. If that happens more chronically, if it falls asleep when you're not laying down or you haven't been sitting on it for a long time, you want to definitely make sure that you see a specialist in the neurological system of our bodies.
It's not likely for your whole foot to get numb unless it's coming from a higher level, like your sciatic nerve or a little bit below that. Once you get down to the foot area, they branch off in such a way that it would be difficult, if not impossible, to compress all of those nerves to make your whole foot. Why do my feet itch so badly? For the most part, when it comes to itchy feet, it's almost always one diagnosis, which is tinea pedis, which is athlete's foot. It usually comes on and it presents itself in a way that there's some redness into the tops or in between the digits, in between the toes, and it causes a lot of burning and a lot of pain. And there's different types of infections that can come in there, some that are blistery, some that are dry and scaly, but they're almost always red, and they're very, very easily treatable with topical antifungal agents for the most part. Can you break your heel? The answer is yes, and it's very difficult to break your heel. Generally speaking, when we see patients with fractured calcaneus, that's the heel bone, and it's extremely painful, and basically you're going to be going to the emergency room or the urgent care center or calling our office. Hard to treat and can give you lifelong problems depending upon the severity of the fractured heel.
Our goal here is to give you a better perspective about your most common questions. We really do not advise that you do any self-diagnosing, or as we call it, doing bathroom surgery, or try to treat problems that you see yourself. Get a professional person who's licensed and has training to treat that problem.